So, Brian Michael Bendis is working on Justice League. Why am I so worried? Okay, here's the thing about Brian Michael Bendis that I've noticed. So, when people think of Brian Michael Bendis, they think, oh, he did the Avengers and the collapse of the Avengers in 500 to 503. The disassembled storyline. Then he did the New Avengers. But when you think of those stories, you think of, oh, he's the guy that did a whole bunch of ignoring the history and the continuity and having to make several big leaps in logic to make certain events happen for Scarlet Witch and did the House of M story and whatnot. And then you also remember, but wait, he did Ultimate Spider-Man and that was pretty good. And this is where I think people get the whole idea about Bendis. Bendis, when he works on an out of continuity storyline, or he's the one who starts a universe, he can make something work. Infinite Frontier is possibly a key to helping that. But when it came to the Avengers and New Avengers stories, it was like, I don't know how to feel about him being the guy that does it. Like he has his moments, but when it comes to continuity, it's like, oh, god damn it, we're screwed. And one of the things, so Bendis being assigned the Justice League, despite the massive amount of hate he got for the stuff he did with Superman in Action Comics, like the most infamous one, turning Jonathan Samuel Kent into a teenager instead of being the great kid that he was, because what was wrong with that? Though I still blame that's Didia's idea because he wants to destroy anything optimistic and what was good for the edgy and darkness. But Bendis was clearly Team Didio for some people, and yeah, now he's been tasked, okay, work on the premier team for your entire universe, of the entire DC universe. And it's like, especially when you gotta consider that it says DC's now starting to reconnect everything with all histories and all stories being basically canon and yet not canon because that's confusing. You have this writer who will gladly pick and choose what he wants and then just ignore everything else and just do his own thing. And then since they try to reconnect with continuity, with connected threads, like what goes on in the Suicide Squad books, clearly is happening from the Batman perspective, where Arkham is attacked by the Joker, and it happens in the Suicide Squad book. So there's that. And yet, you're left wondering, how do we feel about Bendis and him doing that? And, like, we already have enough issues. Like, honestly, the Justice League, I get to an extent that when you think of the Justice League, you think of the Trinity. But I was like, the Justice League has shown on times they can survive without needing the Trinity around all the time. So when you have Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman out, and like, oh, we could give these other characters a shot at the Justice League, they're capable. And this wraparound variant that I ordered, it will be coming in the mail in the subsequent days. It's just, and this team is apparently going to consist of Naomi. I'll get to Naomi. I'll get to her. It will consist of Black Canary, Green Arrow, Aquaman, Hawkgirl. I can't figure out which one. Black Adam, and I was like, is that what was Endless Winter for? Just to build him up to be a good guy? And Hippolyta, for obvious reasons, because of what happened since Diana's kind of, well, first she's in the sphere of the gods, then she's in the afterlife, and she doesn't remember. So Hippolyta says, I'm going to man's world, I will have someone take my place, at least because she doesn't want to, send another sister out there to do what the mother or daughter just had to go through. So the mother wants to do this, even though she has been in man's world in both Rebirth New 52, and yet pre-New 52. In fact, she was the original Wonder Woman of Justice Society. Yeah, that's confusing, isn't it? So it's like, how do we make this work? So I wanted to go ahead and do something a little different for this. So one of the things that was brought up was Newsarama goes ahead and makes a article interview with regarding Brian Michael Bendis' Justice League, and how it's, and the main title is Bendis' Justice League will be the central piece of the DCU. Now, the Justice League being the central piece, I can actually understand. However, that means that this entire era basically revolves around Bendis and what he throws onto the table. So, yeah, let's get into this interview before we actually get into the actual 59th issue. The duo, who have worked on Miles Morales, The Defenders, Iron Man, and Civil War II, are reuniting beginning on March 16th, Justice League issue 59, and using a mix of classic members along with some surprising ones like Hippolyta, newcomer Naomi, and the usually a villain Black Adam. Ahead of this new era, Newsarama spoke with Brian Michael Bendis about his Justice League run, adding a character he created to the pantheon of the team, and added this works with the Justice League secondary story, Justice League Dark, in each issue. Newsarama says, Brian, to jump right in, what are the decisions behind wrapping up Superman to write Justice League? He answers, I was only supposed to do 25 issues of Superman books, each one. That was the original run. Then everything kind of stretched a little bit with the pandemic and other things that were going on. But it's fun. But it was funny. A year before I was done with Superman, they started talking to me about doing about Justice League in a few different incarnations. I was like, ooh, I wonder if I'm going to do Justice League. I haven't committed to that, but I want to do it. Then finally they called and said, we have an assignment for a new Justice League. And I was like, all right, let's think about what this is and what we have to offer. I didn't want to do it when I first came to DC. I wanted to get to know the characters more. I wanted to embrace this world, which is why I clearly wanted to start with Superman, because that is the guy who basically is the DCU. That's my added commentary. Then I felt like after a year or two of Superman, I had a much better sense of how to embrace the Justice League. It's like the Avengers in that it's the central piece book. It's the place where all the characters meet. It's the place where all the mythologies come together and embrace each other. I wanted to make sure we could do that justice. Justice! Are there any story threads from your Superman run or Wonder comic books that you wanted to include in the Justice League? It's certainly not up to me, but I was very happy to hear that they were continuing the mythology that we have built recently with Superman, particularly he's coming out stepping forward as Clark Kent and being that to the world and what that means. What it means that all of his relationships, they've all changed. When you bring the truth about yourself out there, that brings people closer to you. Here's the thing. Some people commented about that statement. I saw this on certain sites, but some were saying that actually makes Superman less relatable to some people because they feel like now Clark Kent doesn't actually exist, yet he kind of still does, and yet but in the New 52, when they did that identity reveal, it was more like, yeah, they're not liking it. So it was more like a give or take. I think because in New 52 they had Lois Lane forcibly reveal it despite his pleas not to, and they weren't in a relationship. Whereas Superman willingly decided to reveal it after discussions with people. I think that's the big difference. If someone else said Superman's Clark Kent, Clark Kent's Superman, I think that relatability goes away. But when you add in the whole, the whole Superman is the one that comes out and says who he is, you could probably buy that people would probably relate to it more. So anyways, Bendis continues saying, that particular thing is something that Justice League is perfect for because I had wrapped up all the personal issues in Superman. Now we get to have and embrace all these friendships and partnerships inside the Justice League. Yeah, and then you're going to screw it up, aren't you? Also, a move like that by someone as powerful as Superman does bring a kind of domino effect on others. It changes things. The Justice League is the perfect place to illustrate that. And now that once again I was happy the world kind of turned to let this happen, is that by bringing Naomi onto the team as the rookie character, she's bringing her enormous amount of new ideas and new threats. The whole point of Naomi was not just her and her story, but that she was bringing her world of new conflict and ideas for the DC universe. So, Naomi. Here's the thing about Naomi. I am going to be honest, I actually like Naomi. I like the character. I did like her comic. I think the problem is she only had one comic. One season, as they called it. Season 1 of Naomi. And they've been working on season 2, but there has been no updates about that other than, oh, it's happening, and then they're gonna have a CW show about her. And it's like, much like Yara Floor, it's like, I, I get the network probably sees potential in her, or probably just want to make that diversity money thing out of it. But I'd rather hear learn more about the character as her mythology grows, as she just started out, before we actually make big money time investments. The Yara Flores show got canceled before it could happen, so sadly we'll probably never see it until like probably several years down the line when they explore more of Yara Flores' character. So yeah, uh, but Naomi is like, she's been in her own series, which lasted for 6 issues. She's been in the Young Justice book, which was for a little bit. And then she showed up a little bit in Action Comics and Superman. But it's like, it feels like we're not really focusing on her mythology and her personal life and character. It just feels like we gotta put her in here or in here just to say she is a big deal, but without actually making her a big deal. Like they say, how she has all this power in her, and it's like, can we learn more about her and that power? Can we get that second season of Naomi in comics? Can we get her own ongoing? This is the thing. People said this. People loved Naomi. A lot of people did love Naomi and said she was the best thing to happen for Bendis' run in DC. And I think that's the reason why. Naomi is Bendis' creation. It's not someone else's creation. It's not a whole 50 or 70 years of continuity all bundled up together. This is a whole new character in an established universe with her own cast of characters and with a couple of guest appearances that doesn't really affect them much of the story, but or the character themselves. So Naomi has room to grow. Bendis has more leeway to do whatever he wants with an original character. That's probably the reason why I had such an issue with Superman's run, with his Superman runs. So I look at Superman and I'm thinking, you know, I read this issue where he reveals his identity. Everything about Superman feels like Superman. But whenever I look at Bendis' stuff around Superman, it's like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's like, he gets Superman, but everything around him has to be Bendisized and not, you know, be Bendis' stuff. Hold on. What's this thing? Sorry, my camera's acting up. Okay. So everything around Bendis is Bendisized, but the characters are in character for, I feel. Oh, but yeah. So the Justice League is a grand opportunity, as Bendis continues in this interview, for us to step on the gas on some of that stuff. But like our second issue, we are encountering Naomi's birth world to confirm some new truths in the DC universe. What made you want to explore Naomi's origins further in the Justice League series in particular? Originally, we were going to do a Wonder Comics book, and the only reason we haven't done a run on Naomi so far is that we're just waiting for the artist for the series. Since the artist there is working on another original imprint with Far Sector, so we're clear. Jamo was supposed to do Far Sector before he met us, and we jumped in and kind of cut the line on Far Sector, which I didn't fully understand that's what we were doing at the time, but we did. So we were like, well, we'll do Naomi, then let Far Sector unfold. Then, as soon as he's done with Far Sector, we'll come back to Naomi. But it's taking a little longer to do Far Sector than anybody had planned, but that's okay. It's a great book, and I'm always on the mindset that as long as it's great, who cares? Yeah, and also because the pandemic screwed everything up. Like every time I read Strange Adventures, I'm thinking, oh man, he hasn't even hit double digits. Man, the pandemic really screwed it up. It was supposed to end last year. Now it's going on for 2 years. Damn you, Corona! So while we're waiting for Naomi to come back, the DC universe keeps turning. And then we had Naomi, her friends in Young Justice, and now with the threat that comes from her birth world comes a Justice League level threat. So that's the logic in what's behind the doors that is so huge that you're going to meet everybody. Once Superman, Batman, and Aquaman find out what's going on in Naomi's birth world, they're going to have to involve themselves. So it's a Justice League situation. It just is. It's actually a perfect Justice League situation. It's something that they can't handle as individuals. They have to handle it as a group. And because it's some new members on the team, it's also an opportunity for them to get experience new things, see things from a different perspective, embolden the team going forward, including those new perspectives and those experiences. With Naomi on the roster, will there be any other characters crossing over with the franchise from your Wonder Comics line or any other DC properties you contributed to? Bendis just says all of the above. I will tell you that what we're going to attempt with the Justice League is that you see this roster, but this roster is based on which the whole DC universe is going to be invited to be part of. Anyone who has ever been in the Justice League, anyone in the DC universe that the Justice League might need for an assignment, they're going to show up. I look at Justice League differently from other super teams, as it should be functioning for what the assignment or story needs. Like, oh, we're doing this big science story. Let's get all the scientists together. There's a core base of warriors. They also have great opinion people that can call on upon whatever situation they find themselves in. A lot of experts in the DC universe. Okay, so we're closing in on the 20-minute mark. We're at 16 minutes. This interview is a little bit long, but I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, but to me, it sounds like it's the X-Men book going on with Hickman stuff. Hickman's a lot like Bendis in some aspects, but yeah, Hickman does read the past books, but that's a different matter. But he takes the X-Men main title, makes it basically is an incubator for all the other characters who cross the X books to show up in, and the only consistent character showing up is Cyclops. Like, he's there just to remind you, the X-Men I'm on the X-Men. I have some important stuff to do, but mostly I'm just the central piece that makes the X-Men X-Men, and then everyone else comes in. Everyone else could come in and out. So you could have an issue where Apocalypse, Magneto, and Charles Xavier are showing up decked out in suits. Well, that is where the X-Men peaked, I think. How do you peak after that? Apocalypse in a freaking business suit. Oh man, that is so hilarious still. And then you got another issue. The next issue suddenly is not focusing on them. It's focusing on Mystique and her story. What just happened there? Well, shouldn't we be focusing on this guy and gal? And then you remember, Xavier and Magneto can be virtually everywhere. Apocalypse is doing stuff in Excalibur, but ultimately this was Mystique's chapter and whatnot. Because the mutant mythology is a massive place. Newsarama then asks, it's every comic book writer's dream to come up with a Justice League roster. How did you pick the members for your team? This was a lot of fun. I've had experience this before. I did Avengers, New Avengers. We were even going to do Daredevil and New Avengers, but then people found out, so I replaced it with a woman. But we got to handpick who we wanted based on what they were, where they are right now in the big DC universe. It's not just my favorite characters, but my favorite characters and what they're going through right this second. So it's not only Superman and Batman, obviously going through some huge changes in their lives, but so is Aquaman, Hawkgirl, Black Adam, and Hippolyta. They're all going through very unique chapters in their lives, and what an honor it is for me to bring them all together to confront it with each other. I've had experience a couple of times, most profoundly in Avengers, in the solo books that they're going through what would be just as big, giant, classic, life-defining stories. Now all together in the middle of a classic, life-defining stories, defining each other as a group, so we picked very carefully based on that. How the team is very specifically people that love and know each other and have a grand history and are family established. Narrowing a few elements into it and people they know and have different relationships with. Black Adam obviously being the most interesting example of a character that's in a bit of a change of conflict, so having the Justice League be there for that and challenge it's very, very exciting. It's kind of like why you read DC Comics to start with. So I'm not doubting the whole Black Adam being part of the Justice League. It's shocking in recent years, but he was in the Justice Society. No, I'm not kidding. He was. And this was pre-New 52. I think Jeff Johns established that as happening. So, yeah, it's not impossible to imagine Black Adam being on the good side. He was temporarily on the good side during the Weekly Comic 52. Then his family was killed in a treacherous act, and then he swore vengeance and killed half the world. Yeah, that was the thing. He slaughtered an entire city and whatnot. That was a bad day for everybody. Oh, don't, I'm not kidding. That was like a day. That was World War III, and that was a day. That was like a day to a week at best. Comics are weird. So, News Round then asked, what's been your favorite character dynamics to play with? Though the history of the other teams books I've written, I knew there were some dynamics that were going to unfold that I wasn't aware of yet. The characters are going to try and take over a little bit. I know it sounds weird maybe to people who don't write, but the characters kind of take over. When I was writing Avengers, I didn't know that Luke Cage and Spider-Man were going to be such a delightful team to communicate with each other. Right now, I'm just writing Hawkgirl and Black Canary as friends. Their friendship is established, is great, and where they are as a team is a lot of fun to work with. David Marquez is a frequent collaborator of yours. What's your dynamic been like on this book in particular? That he's not John Romita Jr.? Got him. Not really. The collaboration is my absolute favorite part of this job. I met David early on, and we immediately connected. We did all wonderful years on Miles Morales together. From that base, we got to really know each other and become good friends. We've been pretty fully aware of each other's strengths and desires as artists. So I get to write for him in a very specific way that I know he wants out of life. I know that what he wants out of his art. I don't know what kind of energy he wants to bring to the page. I know what kind of energy he wants to bring to the page. I really get to focus on that, making sure that I bring in what I know, what he wants to draw, and how he wants these characters to interact. Being very selfishly focusing on him, their artwork and dynamic between the characters come back at such a high level of craft and quality that it just kind of blows me away. And then I ended up rewriting so much of it because he brings so much to the page. I end up getting rid of a lot of dialogue. Oh no, the dialogue! But I can't Bendisize my dialogue! No! He said he's the one to say, what happened to that line? And I'm like, it was there on the face. It was in the way. I'm so blown away by David as a human being and as a talent. Getting to share space with him is such an honor to me. I don't know how else to say that. Now, I'm not doubting the whole Bendis having writers and artists having best of friends sort of thing. It kind of makes transition things easier. It's like, when I think of Jeff Johns' writing, I'm thinking, okay, so Jeff Johns, okay, who's the frequent collaborators he usually works with these days? He works nowadays mostly with Gary Frank, Brad Anderson, Jason Fabok with Brad Anderson. You notice the trend here? Most of the writing he does nowadays usually has to involve Brad Anderson now. So it's kind of hard to imagine what it would be like if he wrote a story that didn't have a certain artist that he usually collaborated with, or a colorist. And he had a lot of talent with people, so yeah. So let's see, let's keep this going. I spent a lot of time making sure that my script is worthy of his talent, to be honest with you. The thing that we share the most is that we only want to give these characters their best moments, like we want them to be the ones that brought in the, oh, remember that great moment like with what's his face? Oh, that was David. Like on Defenders, we did that as well, where we're like, let's make the greatest Iron Fist fight we could possibly think of. We bring in that kind of mindset to all the characters on Justice League, can we bring some of the greatest Aquaman, Hawkgirl, Black Canary moments ever into this book right now? Newsroom then says, Justice League has a backup story with Justice League Dark. Do you ever see the two teams crossing over in your main story? So Bendis answers this. The minute I heard about this new format and the quality of Justice League's Dark people, I called around and I said this format is built for us to mess with. So after we establish our storylines, I want to get to a place where we start affecting each other's stories in a way that doesn't punish anybody but excites you. If you read this story and you get to find out what's on the other side of it, to the point where we're going to be building towards a giant mystical magic event inside the Justice League book that will take over both sections of the story in unique, exciting ways. So sometimes the backup will be the front story and sometimes the backup will be the middle of the story. We're going to mess with and have a lot of fun. I was so excited Rand was into that idea. If you had to pick a baby, who was your favorite character during Justice League thus far? Well, so far Black Adam, because this is the character that's being challenged by the most by the narrative. I know the audience is most interested in seeing the character we're going to pull this off wherever the character's going on with him. I was so grateful to The Rock for already planting the flag for that this character is going to become more complex. I was quite honored. It was one of the characters that he said, hey, if you're interested in Black Adam, that's something we would be interested in having on in this book. Translation, we need to get Black Adam on this book because The Rock's doing a movie, therefore Black Adam is now important again. And I was like, yeah, I would love to write that. It's almost a gift of something I wouldn't have thought of by myself. That's the great thing about doing books in a shared universe. I would never have thought this on my own. It's almost like a gift. Now I'm a few issues ahead of everybody, so I know where we're going. I know how it's working out, and I'm very excited to challenge the audience with this character's arc. Alright, as we head forward, not only the character's arc, but the Justice League responsive to it and how they handle it as individuals and people. Are there any characters you haven't worked on in DC yet that you want to include in Justice League? Yes, all of them. Honestly, when I got into DC, I ran in and started testing everything, and then only to reveal how much stuff I loved so much. I would love to dive into even further, so I know that Justice League is a place where all my favorites can show up at some point, but it has to be story first, so the story has to justify my nerdiness and not vice versa. Any spin-off series is planned? Absolutely. I treat every character in the book as the lead-in of the series they are all on. They all are. They all have a led series. They are characters with very strong themes, and it's on top of a lot of story. There's a purpose to each one of these characters. It's very strong, and a lot of them are in concert with each other. That's what's great about having them on the team together. But as individuals, I think these characters are great. I think each of one of these characters deserve a book right now, and a lot of them have, and some are getting, including the return of Naomi. When that does come back, just to be clear, this isn't instead of a Naomi season 2. This is an addition to the Naomi season 2, which will be starting soon on our end. Everything happening in Justice League will reflect hard in her life. Her life was turned upside down by what's happened. Justice League is another example of how hard her life has been turned upside down. This is Naomi's life flipped turned upside down. And considering what's going to happen to her in the 59th issue, it's pretty telling. So, yeah. That was the interview. So, yeah, like I said, I am concerned about Bendis working on Justice League because Bendis' story kind of is very out of continuity, yet trying to be in continuity. But we'll have to see how this goes. So let's start off with the 59th issue of Justice League by Brian Michael Bendis. And we get some advertisements for the new Harley Quinn series with Stephanie Phillips and Riley Romasso. I don't like Riley Romasso's art. It's just so stylish, so dynamic, I think. So we get some text regular with some beautiful artwork with the logos of the Justice League symbols of the characters all connecting together. When regular people see us, they see icons, symbols. They don't see us. I understand how it happened. It's a perspective thing. We're all way up there all the time. But I think that's why the Justice League doesn't always work. How could you say that? I think that's why I like Clark revealing himself as Superman. People like him more now. They always liked him. But now people feel more relaxed around him now. They relate to him. They feel closer. People feel they understand him more. So what are you saying? I just think people need to see that there's more to us. Then we cut to Kandark, arc where a kid is going ahead and visiting someone's grave, all sad and sullen. And I did not mean to disturb you. Black Adam, the power of Shazam, and the ruler of Kandark. Your mother? Yes. Sir, she died last year. Same for you, sir? No, I am here for my beloved. She passed on this day years ago. She passed defending this great land with me. Oh, yes. So which wife is this? Is this Isis? You know, that lady who was killed in 52 in the most grotesque way possible. Oh, because we can't have Black Adam be happy for, more than a book. Oh, man. She passed trying to teach me things I have yet to fully grasp. Do you, eat candy? He pulls out his pocket of candy, then admits this. I, stole some. Odd candy? No. Oh, that's right. I know you stole candy, and I don't care that you stole candy and broke the rules. Oh, but damn it, I want my gummies. Then the kid freaks out, pointing to something. What is that? How did you do that? Did that look weird? My guy turns to see who the source is. Because, man, did it feel weird. Oh, god damn it. So this is... I can't remember his name, honestly. He's in the books of Naomi. He was in the book of Naomi. and he's a world destroyer from Naomi's former Earth. But yeah, I seriously don't remember him. I seriously don't remember him. His name. Child, leave this place. I will protect your mother. Ooh, wow. Smells fantastic here. What's your name? Now, people were wondering, is it really going to be Shazam? Because that's just stupid, and this is the DC Universe, so anything is possible in the Insanity Department. But no, he just says, I am Adam. Yeah, he just removes Black Adam from his name. I don't know why, though. Like, I looked back, like, I rechecked the pages, and they say he calls himself Black Adam, so why is he calling himself just Adam? Is he like, I get he's trying to go through this phase where he doesn't want to be this evil person, and Black Adam could be scary these days, but yeah, I don't know. So the guy whose name I can't remember just says, "You wouldn't believe what I went through to get here, and here's you. What are you? This world's protector or something? I see you have one of those shirts. What do you want here? What does that symbol thing on your chest mean? What do you want here? Honestly, pal, I can tell you're not going to love the answer." And he charges forward. Go back whence you came. I mean, that's some power level you're flexing. You are the ruler of all this, as far as you are concerned. As an explosion happens, that probably no doubt killed the kid. Way to go, Adam. And thus the battle of Mortal Kombat happens, with the Beast taking down Black Adam. As he starts to strangle him and then throw him back, he then says, "Wait, how many of your kind are there? Leave this world alone, or I will bring the power of Black Adam! The Justice League can take it from here. Stranger, Black Adam may not be the ideal ambassador to our world. Well, the Justice League can take it from here. That means this fight is over. Identify yourself. What brings you here? I mean, like, it's not like I've been to multiple universes, intrude on people's privacy, and go on ahead and build a satellite that can almost kill people. That was the thing. Just DC Comics proudly presents Justice League PRISMS. Call me Brutus. Ah, yeah, I completely forgot because that's such a generic name. I'll keep it simple. All this is mine now. He charges at Superman, who gradually catches his fist. Oh, too bad. And then tosses him back. At least Black Adam was on the right side of this. Did he say anything to you? No. He just stood up and struck me. Are you okay? Of course I am. And this invasion is far from over. Invasion? And, yeah, this place is perfect. Well, not perfect. Huh? And the Legion of Sharks come after him. Yeah, normally I never wall of shark on a stranger, but anybody who can toss around Black Adam, I'm not taking any. And he starts wailing on all of them and blows them up. Chances! And prepares to pierce him with his trident before he realizes, oh, that's not going to end well. Uh-oh. Oh. And the Brutus escapes. Aquaman wasn't done with you. And strikes him back down. And Hawkgirl strikes him back down with Aquaman landing in a punch. Batman, I need backup. Something's wrong. And then something happens to an nth metal little spike. I tried. Mace. Yeah, that was it. It starts acting up and starts actually affecting Brutus. With Superman reporting, the nth metal in her mace seems to be reacting to the stranger. Good. Let's use this moment. And wow. Okay. What's the battlestick made out of? Come closer and I'll show you. You know what? I was clearly ill-prepared for this. I see that now. So, pause. I call pause. Time out. But I will be back. I'm better equipped. George! Don't let him go through that door! Superman tries to reach you through it, but fails miserably. It's not letting me through! And he escapes. Oh, girl, I've never seen your mace do that before. Or it never has. Everyone stand still. We'll do an environmental scan. That creature's not in any of our databases. Adam, you know what I know. And my people have been through enough for one day. Justice League? I think Adam just kicked us out. Me? Sure, but who kicks out Superman? Well, Black Adam probably could, so pretty sure that's pretty much redundant. This new threat will be back. Let's get back to the Hall of Justice. We have a lot to unpack here. Superman turns to see Black Adam and uses his X-ray his enhanced vision to see where Black Adam went, only for Black Adam to turn back to him because I think he realized that he was being spied on. Clark, time to do the work. Talk to me about Nth Metal. We get to the Flash. Well, we know from recent accounts, recent events that Nth Metal reacts to magical materials. Maybe this invader was using a magical power source, magic being. You're asking for the definition of magic? Yes. Is there more in the Thanagarian databases I can look at? Well, you could ask Dr. Manhattan. He says that magic is actually the scraps of creation. Yeah, that was a retcon Jeff Johns did in Doomsday Clock. I can make a call, Barry. Okay, this is where the artwork starts to get confusing. And so, I'll get to that. So, we're clearly talking about Barry Allen, right? Okay. According to these readings, the creature's not from this earth or this dimension. Something not from this dimension? From a different world? Now we have to track which one? And I just think people need to see that there's more to us. Hey, you two. Green Arrow and Black Canary arrive. Hey, where Black Canary exacerbating herself, saying, "Oh good, my fellow Leaguers, please save me from all of our latest rant on why we as a group are wasting every second of our lives and not doing nearly enough." No, are you serious? Listen, I just think we should be doing more. I mean, we could be taking over the world, being the Justice Lord, but there's already a universe doing that, and we're kind of not interested in doing that again. And I think we could be doing more by helping people more than we do. I agree, Oliver. What do you think we need to do? And this is where the artwork starts to botch itself. So they just say it's Barry Allen talking, yet the artwork shows clearly Wally West because he has red hair and not yellow. Or as every iteration of Barry Allen that exists in TV or movie, he doesn't have black hair because that's the thing. Please tell me this is just a botch and they just really messed up with the coloring. I mean, I'm not saying it's difficult. I'm not saying it's an issue. I'm not saying it's easy to change artwork like that. But wouldn't it make sense to wasn't there an editor for this? I would think there would be an editor for this. I mean, did anyone else be like, wait, why is that redhead Wally West, but we're calling him Barry? I know, and that also leads to another question. Isn't Barry with the Justice League Incarnate group? And wasn't Wally West established as the new Flash? And if Frontier oh my god, this is a central piece of the DC universe, god damn it. So now they're saying Barry Allen has red hair because I don't know. Green Arrow continues despite the obvious change in continuity. Well, for example, we have all known each other for a long time. And sometimes when that happens, people start to see things through a similar prism. Even us. We need to get new voices here. Some disruption, some dissent. Now, I'm not saying... Now, okay, you might be right on some things. Some dissent doesn't always lead to bad issues when you have dissension. Anyways, Black Canary then counters points, saying, or counter, it's a real special blessing that we've all been able to come together in such a circle of trust and camaraderie. We have to lean on each other to support. I count on it. And I worry that we're all not delivering all that we promise. Justice for all. Oh, yes, you get it. It's all I think about. I think about my son. He's currently going through this emo phase because he's been from the future. He's grown up acceleratedly because Bendis was a moron that day. And Didio was being a jerk about it because he hates Hope. Oh, and I should be worrying about my other clone son, who's also Lex Luthor's son. And yeah, that's a complicated issue we're not dealing with, but we don't focus on that issue because that gets way too complicated, or else I would have swooped in by now and stopped the Suicide Squad from taking him, and I should probably have already been aware of that by now, but clearly in both the pages of Superman Action Comics and in this, I am a complete dumbass on this, so I'm just thinking of Justice for All. Wait. By the way, as a rule, when Superman agrees with me, I don't care about anyone else. Well, Batman you probably don't care about because, well, it's Batman. He's a bit of an asshole. But what about everyone else, man? Everyone else has a voice. They have a voice, damn it. That's quiet. Helix. I am Helix. I don't even remind you of that, even though you just said my name. The Kryptonian AI construct ready Superman's Fortress of Solitude. Dude. I mean, they know that. The interdimensional visitor's unique energy signature matches only one other in all of the United Planet's vast interstellar databases. It was also cataloged as unidentified, but is an exact match. Do you remember the young woman named Naomi McDuffie? And we cut to her, where she says, okay, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. You ready? And she showcases her powers in Oregon. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Let's repeat this whole thing again! Is this a trick? No, Anthony. I got superpowers from my birth parents I never met. They unlocked, and my life has been crazy pants ever since. Crazy pants? Is that a real thing going on these days? Yeah. I'm streaming. I'm pontificating. Now I'm not hiding. Crazy pants? How? What the fuck does that even mean? But before we could get any answer to what the hell was going through his mind, both their minds when they thought crazy pants was a word. In fact, let me take a look on the database, on the dictionary that is the internet. Let's take a look. Crazy pants. Let's see. Oh, that's a freaking actual word. Crazy pants is a descriptive word that means weird or insane. Not insane in the sense that it means cool or crazy cool, or that it's totally insane. Crazy pants means insane as in a mental illness in the Urban Dictionary. I'm not an expert on this, but they're basically taking a quote from the Urban Dictionary. I'm gonna ask questions. Okay, let's go to somewhere else before I can go ahead and say something. Um, in the Lexico, powered by Oxford, uh, informal North American meaning is completely crazy or absurd. So is it mental illness or is it just standard crazy? I don't know. Anyways, before they can pontificate this whole crazy pants situation they're in, and someone calls out, Naomi McDuffie, a word. And she's met with Black Adam, and that's the end of the issue. Yeah, 13 minutes at all. But wait, there's a backup story for Justice League Dark, written by Ram V, which means it's obviously going to be better written and more consistent with artwork. We get to Augustus Priory Ruins, east of Scarley. Excuse me, my friend. The area's closed for the night, you see. Off limits now. You can't be here. Are you lost? Lost? No. I have been to the edge of reality and watched the cosmos shaped into things you don't even have a name for. Well, it's probably called crisis. I mean, we usually deal with that every 5 to 10 years, but nowadays it seems we're going to have another crisis in a few years tops, maybe next year, where Darkseid's going to go ahead and be in his ultimate form, and we're probably going to get Trigon to come in and kick his ass. I've seen newborn gods create worlds from nascent thoughts and contemplate existence while wandering through the heart of a dying star. I have been farther from this place, from my home, than you can ever imagine. But no, my friend, I am not lost. I am returned. Pontificate to just say, I'm not lost. That's pretty pontificating. Inside, he walks through a different, more familiar prairie. its ruined halls returned somehow to their former glory by his magic. It's been so long since he was last here that he was forgotten the very guardians that he placed in the halls. He enters this room. They were undone with a mere gesture. For a moment he is amused at how quaint his magic used to be. He continues through the inner sanctum, and then down into the catacombs, past the buried dead, to a set of stairs, ancient, older than anything else in this resurrected place. He can feel the thrumming magic even here, growing closer each step of his descent. At the bottom of the stairs into the cavern whose floor is filled with waters from a long-lost lake, in the water stands a stone. In the stone stands a sword. Calabasas is his name, although it's taken others over time. Watching over the water and the sword, and the stone is a girl of an ancient. Sirius, I am not pronouncing that name, is her name, as she was to be the 13th night, charged with her eternal watch when all she wanted was to go with others to win the war. As she hears the echoes of his feet coming down the hall the stairs, she can scarcely believe it. She turns wide-eyed and smiling, knowing that her watch is at an end at last. Merlin, my lord, you have returned! Ah, so it's Merlin the wizard, who looks like he went insane. Meanwhile, in New Mexico, so you gonna tell me what we're doing here, John? It's complicated, Z. In the 17th century, Antrix, a Hellenic priest named I'm not pronouncing these complicated names, recorded a series of prophecies he claimed were told by Seraph. He wrote an archangel who shall, at the end of the moon cycle in the cradle of Magdalens, and bestowed the gift of heaven to aid in a coming war. Dismissed, and the book was forgotten, except for a small cult out of Omniversa that argues its veracity to this day. Separately, in 1994, Joss Eagles, the vocalist of a band, I'm not pronouncing his name, sang an unplanned 8 minutes in ancient Sumerian. And although Joss would later deny any knowledge of her Sumerian interlude, translations say an Earl of Hell unto us and bring a weapon and to strike down false gods. The whole thing was dismissed as a publicity stunt, but hardcore fans still believe that Joss was channeling a falling one. Ordinarily, I'd say it was a load of porks, but the time and place of both prophecies, this day in this place, according to 13 centuries apart, I was curious. I get it. You can't resist sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. And mostly sleeping with you, but we're kind of in this weird are we or aren't we kind of relationship. Also, I kind of dated King Shark, which was an awkward phase because now I'm awkwardly around him during the Dark Side Apocalypse War, and then we never wanted to talk about that phase again. But why are we hitchhiking in a pickup that smells like wet dog when I could just manage us here? Thought about that, but I reckon we've all been a bit roughed up by Diana's departure. Continuity! And you and I never really had a chance to talk about your father. I reckon even Zatanna, the world's greatest magician, needs a little time in the middle of nowhere on a dust trail under the sky where you can still see stars. Zatanna kind of finds this romantic, saying, "You keep this up, John, and I might even mistake you for a romantic." And there's a cult burning a house down. Let's see, today's Wednesday, so we can't use that excuse. Thursday, it must be Thursday. Hey, John? What the hell is going on? Z, quick, a spell to stop them. John, I can't. I'll explain later. Can you do something? Bollocks. I really like this watch. And he cuts his hand and bleeds his watch and smashes it, stopping time around everybody. I've stopped time, just for a little bit. What the hell happened here? Honestly, I have no clue. The great Constantine doesn't know? Then we must contact Batman for the case. What John Constantine does not know is that both prophecies were indeed true. The angel arrived in a pedestrian bolt of lightning, bringing with him the gift of heaven, followed by the demon, and who rose from the bottomless sinkhole carrying the weapon of hell. As the angel and the demon went about their task, both set of cultists arrived at the scene, hoping to see their long-held beliefs affirmed. The children of the light of the gift looked upon the angel and saw him in his true form. His light blinded and infused their souls with heavenly fervor. The substances saw at last their long prophesied demon. His true vestige drove them entirely mad. So they went to war. True to form, heaven and hell left their litterous humans to their own devices and walked away. There, in blood and fury, amid the broken and pain, stood the gift of heaven and the weapon to hell. Yet, with all the bearing of a familiar face. John, look. Jason? Jason Blood? Yes, that is my name. What happened here? I come bearing a task of my own, and a message for you all. We stand at precipice, from edge of all reality. Something beyond knowing has returned. Merlin, is it over? The war? Did we win? It is indeed over, child. Even though ours is a comfort truly eternal. And he stabs with cribbing a loyal officer in the stomach. Your part in it has been played. Merlin. And she dies, collapsing into the water. Your watch has ended, and mine has just begun. He strodes past into the liquid lake of the abandonness to head to the stone of the sword in the stone, plucking it out from the ground beneath. There is no need for you anymore. And he burns the sword into the heavenly jewelry ruby. I know now the destiny of the mortal realm, and I trust it to mortal hands no longer. I will do at last what I could not all those years ago. I will drag this world toward its destiny, kicking and screaming if I must. To be continued! So that was Justice League 59 with a Justice League Dark backup story. Pretty short for Justice League Dark, wasn't it? I mean, pretty short for Justice League 59, wasn't it? And Justice League Dark is now reduced to a backup story. Ram V is writing it, just as he's writing Catwoman, and he's writing the Swamp Thing miniseries. Yeah, I'm a little stunned about that. But what can you do on this? We'll have to see how this goes ultimately in the end. But yeah, here's the thing. I could probably soldier through Bendis' run on Justice League so long as the art is pretty good and there's no ugly John Romita Jr. artwork in it, like those gigantic fingers. I'm still bugged out by that. I was like, that is so Frank Miller modern Miller. It's so weird. I don't even know what happened to John Romita Jr. Like, he did do good once upon a time. Then it was just like, it just fell apart like he went modern Miller on us. So, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, it's gonna be pretty insane. There was also a DC Nation Spotlight interview with Bendis. And the details is that Naomi and her role with Black Adam and what's going to happen here. But that's on DC Nation, so you can check it out. So, those were Neo Reality Entertainment's Pop Culture Omniversa thoughts on Justice League 59 by Brian Michael Bendis. I believe this is the 50, not the 59 issues. It's the fourth volume. Yeah, this is the fourth volume Justice League. So this was Pop Culture Omniversa by Neo Reality Entertainment presenting in Justice League Volume 4, Issue 59. You can feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my content in the description below to check out for more. Stay tuned and take care, everybody, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace and take care.